This is a quick tip guide on the first 5 buildings you should get in your village to not only make looking after your first few villages easier, but also to make sure that they don't leave.
Don't worry, Big Daddy will help you.
This quick tip guide is essential for beginners as they tend to branch out to buildings that aren't as essential as others. And the first building you should build is the most obvious, and that is a house. Not only is this house going to be a place for you to sleep, recharge, have a available chest for you to put things in, but it's also going to be your respawn point in the game. If you don't have your own house, when you die, you'll respawn back at the main village, wherever that may be. It doesn't matter if you're on the Valley or Oxbow map, you will respawn in the main village. So building a house is imperative to build so that you have a place to respawn, a chest, and a safe little spot. The second building that I highly recommend you build is the woodshed. The woodshed is a massive time saver, as well as it has the most important thing that you need for your future villages. New players tend to jump into getting villages. One of the issues that they have is that they don't actually have access to firewood. So firewood is extremely important for your villages, as well as planks for getting the higher tier buildings and higher tier houses, so that you don't have to worry about the happiness as much for your villagers. This is the reason why it's second in the list, is the ability to craft planks, firewood, and if you do have someone automating this woodshed, they will be making all 3 for you, including logs. Logs are very important. Why? Because that means you don't have to collect it yourself. The third one on the list is the hunting cabin. Why is the hunting cabin third? Because this is going to be the start of your food production. This is just so you can get an easy source of food without having to go down the farming route, as when you do farming, you need the farming shed, a whole lot of seeds, and it just takes a little bit more setup to get started. Whereas with this hunting cabin, once it's built, all you need is one villager and provide them with a knife, and they will gather meat for you. They can dry the meat, provide leather for your crafting, as well as fur. So this is an easier or quicker route to getting food in the game. It's not the most efficient way, but it saves some time rather than building the barn, the farm shed, and setting up fields and having to buy seeds, fertilizer, and everything else. The fourth building on this list is the workshop. This workshop is going to be the basis for your bucket making, because the buckets are going to be what you need to provide water for your villagers. So as you can see, all of these buildings are to cover the essentials for your villagers. So we've got our firewood, our food, and now our water. I do not have the well on this list, and the reason for that is that you can go to the river with a bucket or any body of water and fill up a bucket yourself and provide it to your villagers. So you don't actually need the well, it just makes having water easily available or nearby quicker, more efficient. However, the well is very easy to make, so it's not much of a detour to chuck one in. And the last building on this list is the resource storage. With the new remote storage, you can now build at a slight distance. As you can see at the bottom right, I do have the resource storage building showing up. That's showing how far from the resource storage I am and if I'm in range to be able to use the items in there. Obviously the resource storage is going to be massively helpful to keep all of your products shared across all your buildings. So this is going to work for the workshop and the woodshed. As the hunting lodge is providing food, that food needs to go in a food storage, but because if you don't have one, that food will sit in the chest inside that building. So all you would have to do is provide the food and put it in the house that you have your villagers in, which is why when you do start up and build these 5 important and essential buildings, all you need is 1 house and 2 villages for this to work. And why only 2 villages? You can have a man and a woman in 1 house, and you can have one of them at the woodshed and one of them at the hunting cabin. The reason I don't suggest putting anyone on the workshop, it takes a few seconds for you to make a bucket yourself, fill up the water and put it in the chest inside their house. So all the essentials that they need, just put it inside their house until you have the food storage ready. And so our food storage is our honorable mention. Although things will work out just fine with those first 5 buildings, when you get to it, get the food storage, as that will help keep everything moving smoothly across all your products, your resources and your food. So that way you don't have to be the mule and carry each of the items between the buildings. The villagers will do that on their own. And that is the first 5 buildings I recommend you build to get started on a automated village, as well as to make your transition into having an automated village as easy as possible. As always, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.